Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's Uncensored match build-up show. Liverpool taking on Southampton at the Dell, probably, St Mary's, in the semi-final first leg of the EFL Cup. That's right.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Apart from the Dell bit.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which you corrected.
We've got some trivia which we'll do in a moment, but first and foremost, Chris, a semi-final of the League Cup. You know, we've been here before. I think the most important thing about this is that, you know, we after the draw against Plymouth at the weekend, we kind of sat here and we said, listen, not great, but there's big things on the horizon. It's this game and there's Man United at the weekend. It's all well and good to say Liverpool are second and they've got a League Cup semi-final, but there comes a point where you have to play those fucking games and, you know, these are the games that seasons start to be defined by. And it means that, you know, this is one we've got to take seriously and this is one that Liverpool have got to go out there and put a big shift in.
Of course they have. And I think Klopp showed this competition respect all the way through it. You know, Southampton are just another team in our way. It happens every time we play a game of football. And Klopp doesn't put sides out that he doesn't think won't win a game. You know, the side that he put out against Plymouth, he deemed them good enough to beat Plymouth. Plymouth played really well. We drew the game. We got a replay. Yeah, not ideal, but we move on.
Yeah.
This game, I doubt he'll be putting a load of kids in. You know, it's going to be a fairly strong side because this is a competition that he wants to win. You know, not just him as a manager wants to get a trophy in the Liverpool, the fans want a trophy, and the footballers will want a trophy first and foremost. You know, there's a lot of players in this side who haven't won anything.
Well, I think we'll want to avenge last season. I think, you know, Liverpool, something my dad said when we got to the, when Chelsea beat us in the FA Cup, you know, like Liverpool, in the FA Cup final a few seasons ago, Liverpool should go back and try and win it again, and then we ended up at like the semi-finals or a bit later under Brendan Rodgers, and we just kind of limped out of that. Liverpool should be in the habit of being like, if you always get to finals. If you lose them, it's not fine, but you've got to shrug it off, look inside yourselves, and you've got to go, right, we're going to go fucking win that next time, and that's exactly that. And this is a big test for Liverpool, and look, it's premature because we're still 3 games away, or 2 games away from a final. But Liverpool should be going all out for this. You know, fuck Man United at the weekend. We'll judge that in due course. This has got to be right here, right now, our primary focus.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% right. To be honest with you, Manchester United's a huge game, but you've got to focus on the next game. And this is, as you say, it's a semi-final. It's against the Premier League side, a very good Premier League side, who will be fighting tooth and nail to get to that final just as much as we are.
I agree with that. I think that's actually something that will actually influence the selection, because I think we'd have gone strong one way or the other, but I think it's a little bit of a relief, because we've said this plenty of times. Jose Mourinho loves this competition. He loves getting that first piece of silverware under the bag, and that's a first opportunity for it. Did it with Chelsea, you know, beat us as well, and he'll want to, you know, he'll want to make sure Man United are in that final, so we can kind of, to some extent, trust that their squad and their first 11 are going to be in a similar position to ours come Sunday, so it shouldn't be a major focus.
I think that's right. I think Manchester United will be fighting as well to get to the final, but it's one of them. It's Liverpool this season without European football. Of course, the Premier League's massive to us, but we've got a squad that is arguably good enough to play in Europe anyway. You know, I think we're maybe a couple of bodies light, but when you take European football out of the equation, we've got a squad that can fight for 2 cups as well as a Premier League, you know what I mean? And that's what it'll be about. And these players will want to get to a final and will want to win a cup for us. And Southampton are a good side, as I said already, but I trust that if Liverpool play the best, to the best of their abilities, we'll be the ones in that final.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I want to see it, you know, I say silverware. The League Cup is not... It's not a glamorous competition. It's not the kind of competition that, let's be honest, when you don't win a lot of silverware, it's great because it's a bit of silverware. When you are an all-conquering side, it's the one that gets, you know, it just becomes a bit of a trinket kind of thing. Like, but, you know, we're not that all-conquering Liverpool side from the 70s and 80s. You know, there's a reason, though, ultimately, though, Liverpool are the record holders of this competition, because we did take it very seriously during that time when Liverpool were at the top of the game. They went for everything. You know, they tried to win trebles every season, and it's no accident that, you know, Paisley won his fair share of League Cups along the way, and, you know, Liverpool have won so many, because you're right, exactly that. Liverpool should be fighting for everything they're involved in. I think maybe this season, I think we'd all agree that I think one of the two of the League Cup or the FA Cup. It sounds great. No, we'll just take one piece of silverware. No, not taking it for granted in any way, shape or form. I think given how the league campaign has started, if we can get to the final of this competition, we can win that. Hopefully we keep the FA Cup ticking over to the point where we know. But I'm not. What I mean is, I don't see the need for us to press on necessarily in both cups. But this is here. I said 2 games away from the final. Liverpool should be doing everything up, and we should be treating this as maybe the most important thing. I don't know.
Out of the two of them,
of the league, I'm talking about the league and the well, that's not necessarily true. I guess I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but I think we equally prioritise, because you can go all out gung ho between now and the end of the season. We could win every single game between now and the end of the season and not win the league, because that's the position we're in. And so what I'm saying is, even a perfect Liverpool from here till the end of the season could end up the season empty-handed. So it is important that we pick some silverware up along the way, if that makes sense. So for me, anyway, I don't know how you feel.
I feel that out of the 2 cup competitions, the League Cup's the most important because we're closest to the final right now. I think the strength of the Premier League has also shaped that in some way, because there are 6 sides vying for a Premier League title as well. That's really hard to win, and I think the FA Cup, because it goes until the end of the season, it helps the League Cup actually this time around. And also, it's kind of win-win. If we go out, no one's that arsed. Yeah. I actually would be this time.
I'd be really arsed.
I would be. I really want to get to a final. I want to see Klopp win some silverware, because it just shuts the naysayers up for a little while longer. You know what I mean?
That's it. But it's just that Liverpool managers are judged on the trophies that they win, and hopefully this isn't this again. We've said this about managers in the past, and probably said it about Brendan Rodgers too. But this trophy should. I'd like to see it be a stepping stone onto other things, the way that other managers have used it in the past. This team needs to learn how to win. You know what I mean? And I think the way we handled our way to the final last year was brilliant. Some great wins, including the win over Southampton along the way. We were there on merit, but when we got to the big occasion against Man City, we give a reasonable account of ourselves. But Liverpool don't lose finals on penalties. It's not the done thing, and it's not a habit you want to get into. Yeah. Don't get into the habit of losing finals. And I'm prepared to discount the ones or the positions that we didn't quite succeed from under Rodgers or under Kenny or whatever. 2 finals we lost last season. That's something that needs to be shut. We need to shut that shit down, and we need to get in there and need to go and get a piece of silverware. Do you want some trivia?
Go ahead.
No, you don't. You never want trivia. I want trivia. You want trivia. Let's have some trivia. So we mentioned it there, and we all know we've played Southampton in the League Cup last year. That's only one of 2 occasions that we've played them in the League Cup in the Premier League era. Mm-hmm. First question, which I'll actually ask you now, and I want an answer now, rightly or wrongly. When was the last time that we played them in the League Cup? And then what we'll do is I want to know what Liverpool's starting 11. In fact, we'll probably go through the bench as well, because it's fascinating. At that time, we'll do those a little bit toward the end of the show.
Last season.
What?
When was the last time we played them in the League Cup?
Apart from the...
That was a question you wanted the answer for.
Apart from the time that we played them in the Premier League?
Oh, I don't have to answer that now. You said I have to answer one of them.
You have to answer this as well. Have a guess.
2003.
No. Terrible. I had no idea. 1999, October 99, 3rd round of the League Cup, we played them. And I'll be asking if you're watching, please do let us know in the comments below. Have a guess what Liverpool's starting 11 was. Our strike partnership for the day was fascinating, and we'll come to that momentarily. So you did your starting 11 show earlier on today.
Yeah.
You've gone early.
Yeah.
It's happened a few times recently. There was presumably like a press conference or something
whilst
filming, pretty much. So a couple of players that you didn't mention, or 3 players that we can discuss here, because we didn't get a mention on the starting 11, which you should go and watch regardless, by the way. Karius?
Yeah, he never even entered my head that he'd come in. He'd be in the side, to be honest.
Keep his place.
You know what? It's one of them. I kind of just thought the game's so important that Mignolet would go back in. Mm-hmm. But I can understand the reasoning for Klopp wanting to put Karius in, because it is the League Cup competition.
Mignolet would have played that.
Mignolet would have played that a few months ago, yeah. So, yeah, fair enough. Like, it didn't enter my head, because I would have liked to have seen Mignolet with the back 4.
Yeah. What a vote of confidence, though, for if Karius does get the nod in that, because There is exactly what you're saying there. Semi-final is a big deal. I know it's over 2 legs, so you've got a little bit of wiggle room for failure to some extent. But there is a very strong case to say that right now we've gotten through the pissing about bit. This is where we put our first team out because this is the real stuff. I don't think Karius would have been necessarily nailed on or expected this, but I think it's great to turn around to Los Karius and go, no mate. It doesn't matter to me.
To be honest, I think I've had a brain fart there big time because I actually think that if we get through to the final, Karius will be playing the final regardless. I think it's just one of them like Barca did last season with Ter Stegen.
He's your cup goalkeeper.
He's our League Cup goalkeeper. The second keeper is our League Cup keeper. And they probably have that conversation at the beginning of the season that you're going to play all the way to the final. So that one for me is just a major fuck up on my behalf. Like, you know what? I'm not sure it's a vote of confidence for Karius. I don't think I agree with that. I think that he's just the keeper for the League Cup.
But what I mean is, it's there's nothing to say that if he's taking Karius out of the final, there's a difference between playing a fourth division team at Anfield in the FA Cup to playing a Premier League team in the semi-finals, in terms of importance and what have you. It wouldn't have been. I don't think any of us would have batted an eyelid if he decides to put Mignolet in. So if he does put Karius in, again, it says that, and even though technically the FA Cup said this, it does say that he's not got a problem with Karius.
Yeah, look,
his time will come again.
I think the fact of the matter is he's trying to develop Luis Karius as a goalkeeper for Liverpool, and whether that be the number one or whatever, this is one of the competitions he's going to do that. He's not going to do it by not playing games. Yeah. It's the League Cup, he's going back in.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it in these terms, like Bogdan wouldn't have been getting put back in wouldn't have been getting his chance in this because he'd burned his bridges with his poor performances. You know what I mean? He got to the point where he just got totally and utterly fucked off. Whereas you're right, he believes in Karius, but he's just, he's working his options. He's actually using his squad. It's not like a cast iron, you're out because you're shit, you're not good enough, that's the end of you kind of situation, or at least not yet anyway, but a few more fuck-ups before he wants to do that. And the other two players you didn't get covered, Joel Matip and Phil Coutinho potentially back in the squad.
That's a big lift for us, isn't it? And even if they're just on the bench, to be honest with you, because it means that they're in contention for Man United, hopefully. If they can get a few minutes towards the end of that game, whether we're winning, whether we're drawing, or whether we're losing, to be perfectly honest with you, having someone like Phil Coutinho come on the pitch, especially if we are down, would be a massive lift and almost a dagger to the heart of Southampton.
Yeah, I don't want any risks taken with either of those two players. So if they're not ready for footy, then whatever. But if they are 100% ready for this game, it's just a case of getting them up to speed. Then yeah, for Coutinho in particular, half an hour. 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, just to try and shake off a little bit of the rust because he has been out for a long time now, relatively. I don't want him going in cold against Man United. I'd like him to get a little bit going there, but I hope that's my. It's weird because I've just said give this competition full import, but really because they've not, this would be their first game back. If they're fully fit and available, start them. Because they're two of our best 11 players. Absolutely get them in there. If they're not quite ready, for me, what a bigger lift it is for Man United. Yeah. To be able to go, right, you're starting.
Yeah, I think on the injury thing, I think it's something that Klopp's very, very focused on, isn't it? It's not rushing players back, regardless if we were playing. And likewise, if they're not ready for football against Manchester United, I don't think he'll play them. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be hamstrung by big players coming back from injury anymore. I think we've learned our lessons from that in the past, from Daniel Sturridge especially. I think that's just the smart way to manage players, isn't it? I think, you start pushing players to over their limits and you will eventually either piss the player off because they're getting injured or you'll do them some serious damage and you won't have that player anymore.
And on the flip, it's great for the other players in the squad to be like, look, I trust you. Look, Phil Coutinho's a tremendous player, but I trust a fully fit you over a 75% fit better player than you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Go out there and prove why you're worth your spot, and hopefully that continues. That interesting. That do go and watch Chris's Starting 11 show. Of course, I mean you all do, but if you don't do, because be better at life. But very interesting, very difficult one to pick. Yeah. That because of the no Mane and the potentially no Henderson thing. That's where all of a sudden I'm looking at our squad and going, that's a very tricky situation. But
so I've done that side without Mane, without Coutinho, without Matip, and without Jordan Henderson. And at that point, you're taking 4 of our best players out of the side and going pick an 11 that's going to win a semi-final.
Well, this is a big test. This is why this is a big test. It's actually the Mane thing. We did a bit on Social Club this week about who do you need to sign, and we've talked about it on here, of course. But I said in the absence of Mane, we just need another Mane-shaped person who largely does the stuff that he does, which is ridiculous because you go and spend £35 million on a guy who scored 9 league goals and however many assists as well. He's been relatively speaking a fucking revelation for us this year. It's a big ask to say just go and buy another one of them. It doesn't work like that because if it did, we'd have had several ones of him over the. Yeah, pay the money. But yeah, this is the thing, is that it does feel a bit like we're on the edge of this, and this is a big test for us, is can we continue to play the way we do? Because we've had Firmino out of position. There's a very real chance that another one of Origi or Sturridge might have to spend a spell of games out of position as well. So no, big test. Key man prediction?
I'm going to go Danny Sturridge.
Yeah.
I think he's got to play well for us to win if he starts first.
Well, if he starts, he's got to be the man for the big occasion in this regard. You know, he's been getting his opportunities haven't been forthcoming as much as he would have liked in this situation. But we kept saying it. We said this at the derby. You're going into a spell now. This January, this 3 weeks coming up, 3 or 4 weeks without Mane. He's going to get more game time than he's had. If he stays fit, he needs to not just stay fit, he needs to score some fucking goals. Love Daniel, but that's the long and short of it. You know, if you're a Liverpool centre forward, that's the minimum expected of you. And all the goals that you've scored prior to this point are lovely, and I can't wait to watch them all back on a DVD. You know, and the greatest hits and all that kind of shite in the future. But realistically, that's been and done. We need goals now, and one of the guys that steps up has got to do it. And you know, for me, that could equally be Divock Origi by the same notion. Whoever gets the nod to lead the line needs to be the guy who gets us into a good position. I want to take a win back to Anfield. I don't want to be in a position where I don't want to have to stress about this. I want to stress about a final. I don't want to have to stress about semi-finals. But doubtless it'll be a much tighter contest than we'd ever have it, and we'll just have to see who comes out on top. Score?
1-0 to Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll take a 1-0. I think that, but I could equally see it being, as I've said there, I wouldn't put it past it being a 1-1, and we really need to. You know, it gets the best out of us. It gets the best out of Anfield when we need to pull something out of our arses, doesn't it? So maybe something like that could be a good way to really kickstart the season and really kickstart the atmosphere. Not it being Dortmund when we're coming towards the tail end of the season. Get it now, get everyone boosted up, and use that to fire us forward for the rest. So trivia. I asked you prior to last season, when was the last time we played them in the League Cup? We played them at the Dow, which is why I mentioned it at the top because it was fresh in my mind. Back in October of 1999. Do you want to have a hazard a guess at some names who will have been involved? Titi Kamara was on the bench.
Ooh.
Yeah. Feel free to shout out.
Robbie Fowler.
Robbie Fowler was not involved in the matchday squad.
Oh, was it third round, did you say?
Third round.
Oh, yeah, third round of the League Cup. It's going to be no mark.
No, it's actually a surprise. There's one no mark.
Jamie Carragher.
Not him, but yeah, he is in there. Yeah, Jamie Carragher will have played in midfield in this game.
Berger.
Patrick Berger, yeah.
Gerrard.
Barmby.
No Steven Gerrard. No, I think this is the season before Barmby.
Danny Murphy.
Danny Murphy was on the bench.
1999, I can't think. Wait,
Okay.
Far too tired for that. Like.
Let's go through centre half.
Stefan Onshow. Sami Hyypiä.
Stefan Onshow and Sami Hyypiä. There you go. Left back. Signed on a free transfer. Returned to the club on a free transfer.
Steve Staunton.
Steve Staunton. Right back. Played in all kinds of World Cups.
Babel.
No. I think he played in three consecutive World Cups.
4.
Cameroon.
Rigobert
Song. Jamie Carragher anchored in midfield alongside Jamie Redknapp. Ding. Patrick Berger on the left. Scouser on
David
the right.
Thompson.
David Thompson. And up front, not Robbie Fowler. Michael Owen and...
Heskey.
Oh, no.
No.
4. Terrible.
What?
Terrible centre forward.
Terrible sense of
Well, not
forward.
terrible.
Eric Meyer.
Eric Meyer, there we go. Michael Owen and Eric Meyer leading the line. Just out of interest then, Jürgen Nielsen, who we left by the roadside in the Trap Manager series, Vegard Hegem, Dominic Matteo, Danny Murphy and Titi Kamara. So there you go. If you got all them right, you're clearly some sort of, I can't have said this before, but clearly a Rain Man of some description, a Liverpool Rain Man. Boss, looking forward to it. Can't wait to see the game. We'll be here. Yeah, we'll be here doing a live stream, watch along, so you can get involved with that. If you haven't done so already, obviously click the Redmen TV emblem. You can subscribe to the channel. It's always.
Where is it?
Is it? Where is it normally?
Below it.
Directly below me.
That's the video, then there's the emblem, and then there's a subscribe.
See, Tom
You've only
knows.
got 20 seconds to do it. So.
So click down there.